Hello, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm not quite sure how we're back to Wednesday again because it feels like it just was that we were just doing this, but apparently it's Wednesday again. Hi, hope everyone's doing well. Also, you can see I've got a very fresh cup of tea, so it's just steaming away. Every time I think I'll make my cup of tea like earlier so that by the time we get here, it's actually the right temperature. I can hold it and drink it and not have it scald me. But every time I make it immediately before I do this, and then it's scalding hot, and I sit here with steam coming up in my face. So here we are. But I hope that if you want one, you've got a nice cuppa and can sit and get cozy and listen to Tea Break Chat. Claire, I see you're on. Hi. Okay, so what's been going on this week? I'm going to keep my life chat part a bit shorter this week, in theory, because a lot of it's the same stuff I've been talking about, and you don't want to hear me talk about how busy work is again, because it's still busy. But what I did want to mention on that front is that even though things are still, we've got about a week left, well, not about a week left of the big deadline, and then there's another 2 weeks after that till the kind of secondary deadline. And I've been going hard at it, as you may have gathered. And if you saw my stories this morning, I posted I was laying in bed and just really savoring a slower start to my morning. And there's not a whole lot of moments like that for me right now. But when there are, it's so important to savor that and soak that in, because our nervous systems are not meant to be like go all the time, like up here with, just like constantly bombarded, like I'm getting bombarded with information at work and with stuff coming from multiple directions, and I've got so much responsibility and decision making, and it gets to be a lot. So where I can, I sneak in these moments of downtime. Last night, you might have seen, follow me for nutrition content, when I had the best dinner of all time of a package of smoked salmon and a bag of salt and sweet popcorn, and a glass of lime and mint cordial. Cordial? I don't know. And that was my dinner of champions. But I had half an hour before, from getting home from work, before my group coaching call. And that was a really good way of, I wasn't going to get any work done in that time, was I? So I could sit and just have something that tastes delicious, judge away, I don't care. Smoked salmon and popcorn is one of my all-time favorite combos. And with either the lime and mint cordial or rosé. Rosé goes very well with it too, but given that I'm not drinking very much, and especially at this time when booze is the last thing I need right now, then the lime and mint cordial comes in. Anyway, I'm off topic already. So I did that to find a little pocket of feel-good time. And then this morning was similar. I had this pocket of feel-good time where I don't have the girls this morning, I get them back tonight. So when I woke up, I took a little bit of extra time rather than jumping straight out of bed and rushing downstairs to my computer. Because I've been in the office most days lately, but today I was going to be at home. So I took that extra time to just lay in bed and to feel it. And, I talked about how I was feeling the sheets on my body and just, getting out of my head, which is where I'm spending all of my life right now, back into my body, and just feeling the sheets. I spread out and could feel the sheets on my entire body from my shoulders all the way down to my toes. And I was listening to I sleep with the window cracked open, so I was listening to the rain outside and just really slowing down and giving myself that time to savor in that before having to get up and be like, go. And similarly, working from home today, I've got you can just about see it, my diffuser going, and I've got this, it's called Warrior Blend, but it's this really grounding, soothing blend of essential oils. Because if you don't know much about essential oils and aren't into it, different scents do different things for your mood and different things for you. And some days I have lively, energetic oils going, and this one is more of that grounding, soothing. It just feels so comfortable and it's all gonna be okay. So I needed that today. I've got comfy clothes on. I'm just really okay, I've still got a lot to do, but I can do it in a way that is so much better for my nervous system. And that really will help set me up for, I'm in the office again the rest of the week. And, there's still, like I said, a whole week to go of go time. But finding these little bits of feel good, finding these ways to bring your system back down, to get out of your head and back into your body, even if it's only for short periods of time, can make a world of difference. The other thing, so in addition to all the work stuff, which I'm sure you're bored of hearing about, is I just wanted to point out a co-parenting thing, because I haven't been talking about co-parenting as much lately, but it's a big thing. And I wanted to mention that we've changed our co-parenting schedule, not massively, but if we had last set it back in April was when we made the change to 50-50 parenting for the first time. And if you were around at that point, you might remember that I was definitely feeling some anxiety around it. It took months to agree that's the 50-50 schedule. And then before it was implemented, and the run up to it was hard for me. And then the adjusting to it after was hard for a good few weeks, maybe a bit more than that. The change was a big thing. And the schedule had worked really well then after that. We settled into it and it was good in so many ways. But then my co-parent and his partner wanted to make some changes, and I really resisted it, partially because my brain couldn't cope because I had so much on at work, but also because the schedule had been working for me, and I thought it was working for the girls, and so there was some resistance to it. Anyway, I got around to doing it, and came up with a new schedule that we both agreed on pretty quickly, which was amazing. Because like I said, the last one took months to agree on, whereas this one was a pretty quick agreement. It wasn't a wholesale change; it was just changing the way our weekends work, so the weekday bit stayed the same anyway. But it's still a pretty big shift in the weekend part. And although on paper it's better for me in a lot of ways, in that it gives me, the way we split it means that basically I'm going to have more time for a weekend social life than I had before, which is helpful, especially as, I move back into dating once this crazy work project is done. Dating's been paused for now, but when I go back into dating, it's helpful to have more weekend time and stuff like that. So it on paper, and that, this was a schedule that I'm helped create and I'm fine with. But I am still feeling anxiety around that a bit. And I just wanted to share that, to say that, when we can make changes in our life that we know on paper are good for us and that we, support and are on board with, and it can still be this anxious thing. So I'm just feeling this it's, the old one was working and what if the new one doesn't work? And until we get into it, there can be a bit of around changes like this. But that's okay. So I want to tell you that, this anxiety can still come up and is normal, but B, it's okay to feel that way. And a big part of this work is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is the most annoying phrase ever. I totally get that. But it's so important, because often what we do when we're uncomfortable is we try and fix it, we try and avoid it, we try and numb it, we try and do anything at all to get rid of this uncomfortable feeling in us. And fixing it, avoiding it, numbing it, none of those are actually good, sustainable, long-term coping mechanisms. They are coping mechanisms, but really getting comfortable with being uncomfortable like this and being able to sit with it and hold it is so, so important. And so it's okay that I'm feeling uncomfortable with this change in schedule. It's okay that I'm feeling a bit about it. It doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means I need to lean back and trust and trust that it's going to work out, and that if it doesn't, we'll make changes, and that all of that is okay and normal and just part of the process. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Right, I've got 4 questions this week, which is very exciting, and actually at the point where, if I get more questions than I can do every week, I'm going to have to start picking and choosing. But at the moment, I can do all of them. So I'm going to go straight into them now. And in no particular order. But one question was about how to boss a competency-based interview. And this one, it made me smile, because my first thought was just, well, you practice the competencies, which is true. So if it's a competency-based interview and they give you the competencies in advance, I definitely recommend, practicing them and coming up with some answers and coming up with examples and, rehearsing sort of so that you know that you can tick off, because the competency-based one is where, they have specific things that they want you to cover. Can you show me this, that, and that? And it's pretty straightforward in that sense. But it's not just about ticking off the list and practicing them. It still comes back to getting yourself into a place where you believe that you get yourself like mentally psyched up before you go into the interview, basically, and reminding yourself what is true for you. And even if, because sometimes with these competency-based interviews, you might not feel totally confident in, or you might not have the exact relevant experience for each of them. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other ways you can demonstrate your skills and other ways that you can demonstrate that you are a fucking powerful, badass, amazing queen. And anybody would be insane not to hire you. So you can get that across regardless of the format of the interview. So before you go into an interview, remind yourself that you are a fucking powerful, badass, amazing queen of a woman, and with this bright light that anybody would just, they are lucky to have you, and it's not the other way around. So I would prepare for something like that by affirmations. So writing yourself some words similar to what I just said, if that's, whatever it is that lights you up, but, and repeating them to yourself like all day, every day in the run up to the interview, especially as you're walking into the interview, but have it become kind of your mantra of, I am powerful and amazing. I am the best person for this job. They would be insane not to hire me. I am, a badass, powerful woman. Whatever it is, the words that really light you up, I would write those down and I would put them on Post-it notes all over my house. I would put them in my car, and I would really big myself up that way so that you go into it knowing that, you know what? And I'm not saying that in, the super arrogant, like, of course you have to hire me and you'd be an idiot not to. Like, don't go in, all pompous and arrogant, because that's quite off-putting. But it's that knowing inside of you that, like, I know I am freaking amazing and that I'm going to be an asset to your company, and let me show you how. Let me, I just need to be myself, let my light show through, and that will shine out to everybody, and people will be like, oh my gosh, we need this woman in our company, in our, environment, whatever is the role that you're going for. They're going to want you, because a woman who really owns her greatness, who owns her power, who lets that light shine through is so magnetic. So there, that's my interview prep tip. Okay, then I had a question about what do you do when a friend makes you feel bad about something that you've done, like your behavior, but in this context, it's not behavior towards them. So the sort of context behind this was somebody was in a social setting, and in this particular case, drank a lot of booze, got in a taxi, and went home at the end of the night without telling anybody. Now, I mean, that is like what my friends did all throughout university. There's definitely people who just like disappear without telling anybody. And as the friend who was left behind going, oh my gosh, it's my friend, it's a bit like, oh, because you're not sure where they are. But in this case, so then the friends who were still there afterwards made this woman feel guilty that like you shouldn't have done that, and really kind of made her feel guilty about it. So the question is like, what do you do about that? And I would say that the guilt here is probably less about what the friend is saying and more about how you're feeling. Anyway, I know I say this all the time, but it always comes back to you, doesn't it? It's, again, annoying answers. I'm full of annoying answers today, aren't I? Sorry about that. No, sorry, not sorry. So in this case, yes, you drank a lot, you got in a taxi and went home. Do you feel like you did anything wrong there? Because I would say there's nothing wrong in that, in what happened. So you are a grown woman. You did not have any responsibilities for any other small humans at that point in time. You get to be responsible for you, and you get to do your actions and do whatever it is, and you are only responsible for you, and your friends are responsible for them. And although, yes, it's lovely that they were concerned about you and looking out for you, it's not their job to be your parent. You don't have to report into them with everything you do. So I think the important thing here is to look at why you're feeling guilty, thinking, do you think you did something wrong? And if so, why? And then let's get my words a bit stuck at the moment. And so, yeah, do you think you did something wrong, and what are you feeling guilty about? But then the friend piece is knowing where to draw the boundary between your stuff and your friend's stuff. And we can often end up taking on other people's energies and other people's emotions that actually isn't ours to take on. And that's where those boundaries are so important. So if your friend is triggered and worked up because you disappeared and she didn't know where you were and all that, and she's worried, that is lovely, and we can appreciate her concern, and we can say, thank you so much for worrying about me. I love that you care about me so much, and I recognize that, but I don't need you to be responsible for me, and I don't need you to bother me, and in this case, it did all work out fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong anyway. But even if something did go wrong, it's not on her to stop anything wrong happening from you. So you can say, I really appreciate your concern, and that's super lovely, but I'm okay, thank you. I don't need a lecture about my behavior because that's not yours to lecture on, and I don't have any problem with it. So I'm not sure any of this is making a whole lot of sense. We can follow up after if need to. But I think it's just getting clear on, are you happy, and setting your boundaries, and then for your friend to deal with their emotions about it. You do not need to take on your friend's emotions about that. And same goes for any situations like that. It's not for you to manage other people's behaviors or reactions to things. And I think in this case, it doesn't sound like your friend was trying to make you feel bad. She was just concerned, but then it ends up making us feel bad and guilty. So again, it's that coming back to you and going, I don't need to feel guilty here. I didn't do anything wrong. I think that was what I wanted to cover. Let me know if it doesn't cover it. Still too hot. Okay, next question was about, and check on how I'm doing. Oh, why do I always talk so much? I might actually run out of time for these, so I'm going to come back to this one, and if I run out of time, I will cover it next week. I'm going to skip to question number 4. Question number 4 is about, it's a big one though, how do you recover from a broken heart or rejection? And that is the big one, and could be an entire, coaching program. It could be, definitely loads of one-on-one time spent on this. But what do I say about it in a short answer? How do you recover from a broken heart? So broken heart / rejection to me can be linked, and they can be very separate. I would say that I've felt some brokenheartedness over 2 particular men in my post-marriage life. There was obviously a lot of brokenheartedness after my divorce, or prior to my divorce. But there was, for the old school people watching this, last year I had a really cool thing with a man that he was not my exactly man, but he was exactly what I needed at that time, and it didn't work out between us, and it was probably not ever going to work out between us, but I was really brokenhearted about that. And then more recently, the one who I started seeing earlier in the summer, and oh my gosh, it was just freaking amazing, and I've talked about him lots lately, so I'm sure you have heard about him, and we've put it on pause about 2 months ago now, and honestly, although we were only we weren't even officially dating, but whatever we were doing, it was like a month, and now it's been 2 months since then, and I'm only just feeling like I'm recovering from this broken heart. And that wasn't even rejection. There was no rejection as such involved. It was just the timings aren't working out on this. But it sucks. Broken hearts suck. Okay? There's no way around that. So how do you recover from that? Well, You give yourself lots of love and compassion and time and as much, whatever you need. You really listen to yourself and go in and go, what is it that I need right now? But you can't rush it. Like I said, we were only like a thing-ish. We weren't even a thing. We were doing a thing for like a month, and then it's been 2 months, and that might seem like a bit of a ridiculous ratio, but hey, that's how long it's taking me. It's only just now starting to feel like going out and dating again might be fun and exciting. Up until now, I've been going, no, I would just be doing it to get over him, and that's not the right reason to. Whereas, now it's like, okay, yeah, this actually does sound fun and exciting. But you can't rush that. It takes as long as it takes. It's about really pouring into you. So it's when you are feeling lonely and sad and wanting that connection and, missing it and going, oh, I just want that back. Like, that feels so good. You pour into yourself over and over and over and over again. That might mean putting on cozy pajamas and having a cup of tea and sitting on the couch with ice cream. It might mean watching chick flicks and crying your eyes out. It might mean going out with your girlfriends, going to a comedy club and laughing your head off. It might mean going to the beach and, just getting bashed around in the waves in the ocean. It might mean going and listening to live music with or without other friends. It could mean a million things, but the answer for the broken heart is to pour into yourself over and over and over, because at the end of the day, you have got this. You are going to be okay. Broken hearts do not need to last forever. They just need lots of love and warmth and healing wrapped around them. The rejection piece, so there's definitely, that's, again, a big topic, but the rejection piece is, the short answer is coming back to, that comes from feeling like not enough, or feeling too much, or going, they left me, they rejected me for this reason because I was something that made them go away. And it's really doing a lot of healing work on understanding that you are not too much, you are exactly perfect as you are not enough, you are always enough, you are always worthy, and really coming back to the knowing of who you are and your strength and your truth. And then you can get to a point of, it wasn't that they rejected me, it's that we were not a compatible match. And a compatible match is not going to work out ever in the long run. It's not going to be that sustainable, secure, deep attachment relationship. So it hurts like hell, don't get me wrong. And I'm still, like I said, I'm getting over it now, but I'm still like, I think about him every day and want to text him and want to start things up again and go on holiday together and do all the things. Like, it's, I'm not saying it just disappears. I want all of that too. But ultimately, I know that if we're not the right match, or it's not the right time, or he's not the right person, or I'm not the right person for him, it's nothing to do with who I am. It just means that we are not the right match for each other or at the right time. And then you can get to a place of, okay, it hurts, it sucks, but it's not a personal thing about me. It's not because I am not good enough. I absolutely know that. It's not because I am too much for him. I absolutely know that. It just means that where he's at and where I'm at and what he's looking for and what I'm looking for, those don't match. And that is totally okay. That's like saying you go up to the ice cream counter and your favorite is maple pecan and somebody else's favorite is mint chocolate chip. It doesn't mean that the maple pecan is bad or the mint chocolate chip is bad. It just means you have different flavor favorites. That's okay. It's, it's the same with people and emotions. You can pick different people and have different compatibilities, and it doesn't mean anything bad about any one of us or about you. It just means it's not the right match. I don't know if that was helpful, because I know it's a really, really big one, but that's my short version of it. And I am going to wrap it up there. So yeah, I thought I could get through 4, but maybe 3 is my max. So I'll have to either roll over the other question or cover it somehow else individually. But I'm going to leave it there. So as usual, though, I am going to wrap up by saying that if any of this, brings up anything in you, triggers you, if you're feeling like, annoyed or mad or like, oh, I really want to investigate that more, let's talk about it. Let's keep the conversation going. Comment, send me a message. I've got one-on-one sessions available. So for £155, we can do single one-on-one sessions. We can do a 3-month, a 3-session package for £444. Or obviously I've got the 3-month all-inclusive. You get the Voxer access, the messaging in between, and that's for £2,000. But there's ways that we can go into any of this deeper individually if that is something that feels really good to you. Or anything else. This obviously doesn't have to be what we talked about today, but anything else. So those are always ways to go in deeper and really to start to investigate some of this stuff on an individual level. I am not going to be here doing this live next week. So usually I wrap up by saying same time again next week. But because next week is our big work deadline, I'm going to have to put it down for the day and really focus on smashing that deadline. So next week will be a week off of Tea Break with Lindsey. You can always watch the replays, so they are all saved in the video section. So honestly, if there's any that you missed, go back and watch an old one. Or, you don't have to fill your time with me every week. That's okay too. So I will be back though the following week after that. They're not stopping. It's just a slight pause for next week while I finish out this big deadline. So close now. I'm so excited. Okay, so if there's anything else, send me a message, let me know. But thank you for hanging out and have a good Wednesday. All right, thanks. Bye.